Carbonites Gaming.
Welcome back, Knights, to another Summoners War video with myself, TorchHealer. Today we're going to be looking at the other TOA final boss. So I think a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I don't know, we looked at the male boss with the two kind of crystals on each side, or one on each side, I suppose. And we're only looking kind of right now at TOA normal. If you watched my last video, you'll notice that I got a new monster. And to be honest with you, I figured I would, like I've said in the past, I only ever really do TOA hard to 70 just to get that Devilmon. But I made a team, I tinkered around with it, got some runes on some monsters, and I finished TOA hard for the first time over this last week or so. So I can show you the team I used for that, but it does not look like a free-to-play team. It's got a lot of monsters that I feel pretty lucky to have. So I can show you that after. But for right now, let's take a look, after this Giants run obviously, at the TOA normal boss for this month. I know because there is the two, there's the male and the female. I don't know their names because that's not what I don't really get paid to do. So get the hell out of here. There we go. Alright, Trial of Ascension. TOA normal, final boss. Lyrith. So if you haven't completed TOA normal or TOA hard, obviously if you haven't completed normal, you probably haven't completed hard. What you're looking at is the control, right? So same as a couple weeks ago with the male boss. The male boss is a little easier as long as you can control the crystals on either side and keep their attack bars down and slow them. It's all about controlling that center boss. As long as he doesn't get an attack, then you essentially win, right? So it's kind of the same idea for the female, except the female doesn't have crystals on either side. The female has, and you'll see, they're almost essentially spirits. So once again, this is the same team, I think, as we used last time, right? So I'm going to use the speed lead, just because that's what I feel like using. And I will manual my way through this and try to explain kind of what I'm thinking when I'm doing it, and why I'm attacking certain monsters when I am. So once again, we have Fran with that attack buff and immunity and heals. We have Lauren with that attack bar decrease, defense break, slow, and heal block. We have Crow with that big damage and the branding. The branding is a big difference as well. Vertiheal to get everybody cycling back up and get more turns. And Jean, whatever. Just because I was honestly trying to think of who else to put in there. And personally, if I wasn't going to use Jean, John, whatever, I don't know who I would use. Maybe Triana? But I know Triana is not a free-to-play monster, so I'm trying to keep this as free-to-play as possible. We could maybe use a Theomars for extra damage. But yeah, it's very difficult. We could use a Sigmaris for extra damage. Actually, you know what? Let's try Sigmaris. Alright, so we've got, I know mine's built really slow. I've shown the runes for everything else on the last time. So on Swift, it's plus 36 speed. Alright, so that should give you an indication of how much speed is actually on every rune. And all I use my Sigmaris for is, I think, the water dungeon. Because that second skill is proportionate to the enemy's max HP, so it does big damage, and I do believe the third skill is as well. Yeah, proportionate to the enemy's max HP. So let's try this team. I'll manual my way through it, and I'll show you why I'm picking who I'm picking to hit. Alright, so first and foremost, make sure you're not on auto mode. Now, these Junos, right? I personally try to get rid of Junos first. And you might wonder why I try and get rid of a Juno first, but it is because the Juno is going to heal no matter what per effect on that Juno, right? So if I have a defense break, she cleanses it and heals the whole team for that, right? So that was kind of not what I wanted. Let's see what this does. So we can get rid of this Juno. See if we can get a bit of cheekiness there. See if we can freeze. No. So for me, making sure that I am controlling those attack bars, right? So that Juno just screwed me over a little bit, but that's okay, right? Like I said, it's a learning thing. This isn't a team I would normally use. And the only reason I'm showing it is because the team I would normally use would be claimed as not free to play. And that's because, once again, I've had some luck and some summons. So I utilize that to my advantage, as should everybody, right? So I'm not saying that you have to use these teams because I'm using them. If you have a monster that you feel would be better suited for the situation, by all means, use it, right? That's the point of the game, is to progress and get better, right? If you get a good chance at having a monster that's going to do extra damage that you wouldn't normally have, or help your team survive a bit better, then by all means use it, right? It's not like it's cheating. It's a monster in the game. But for me, the reason I'm showing you these teams is for those people that don't have as much luck getting those big nat 5s, like the absolute game-breaking nat 5s, right? So these are all fusible or farmable monsters. And actually, with the current event that's going on, I think it's got a few days left at least, you can use, or you can get Lauren for free. You can get a Verti-Heal for free. And those two are big, right? One increases the attack bar of your team, one decreases the attack bar of the other team. So there's, two of the monsters that are going to help you progress right there. All right, so this, like I said, is the main boss Lyrith. Now, she steals attack bar, as you've probably noticed. And when she steals attack bar, right, she's going to attack. And it's very difficult to get a lot of damage onto her when she isn't in a groggy state. And I'll explain that in a sec. So, like I said, 2 spirits pop out, and I think there's 4 different ones that it can be. So check up in the corner. So the blue one on the left is going to reduce the chance of getting a critical hit and stuns the target. So obviously we don't want to be stunned, right? The incarnation on the right is going to attack all enemies and recover HP. Well, obviously we don't want to get stunned, and we don't want to be giving up HP, right? So we've tried so hard to control everything. The biggest thing I can suggest is stuns, right? So I didn't bring stuns on this team. So instead of a Sigmaris, maybe think of a Veramos, right? Somebody that can get some good stuns off, or even dots. If you have a Beretta built, it's a good consideration, right? So let's see if we can get a freeze. Froze one, perfect. So let's work on the other one. And we can control this attack bar, just like I said before, right? As you can see, the damage is a little different, right? It's not getting as much damage, but see if we can knock that down. Perfect. Take a little bit of damage. Now this one shouldn't be attacking, but will steal attack bar, right? So less damage dealing, which is nice. So hits, steals, but we have that attack break, or that heal block, right? So the Lorne doing her job, making sure that we're controlling what's happening, right? So a slow and a defense break, perfect. Let's get a scar in there. Now we have that branding, even better. So now the point is, we kind of want her to get a full attack bar so she can go back into that groggy state. The other option is we just take her out before she gets the chance, right? So we're using big damage. We can heal up, maybe get a violent proc, no dice, right? So we're using this our big damage to prevent her from even having the chance to spawn another incarnation, right? So that reducing her attack bar and constantly increasing ours is once again meaning we only have to put up with the first wave of those incarnations. And that once you're done with them, it's just, making sure you have enough heals and, kind of tankiness to survive some hits. And if you've seen my crow, which I've shown in the last couple videos, I'll show them again now. For tankiness, you don't need a ton, right? So I have just over 12,000 HP total. I have under 1,000 defense total, right? And so it's not like you don't have to have every monster at 30, 40,000 HP. You can have some monsters that are dealing damage as long as you're able to protect them a little lower, right? So that is kind of a guide to doing the female boss for TOA normal for this month, and then a couple weeks ago I showed you the male one. So now, as long as you can get through to the main boss, you should at least have a general idea of what you're looking for. I think the upcoming videos I'm going to kind of go through and we'll hit every set of boss, every one we can, right? So I'll show you kind of different ways of utilizing kind of free-to-play monsters or fusible monsters through every one. And obviously this is going to be, so personally, I would say that the Artemil team, which I do believe is this one here, so let's check floor 70. So I think this is probably one of the hardest ones to deal with, in my opinion, especially as a newer player or just getting into TOA and working your way up. This one can be a pretty run-stopping floor, depending on how high up it is. If it's lower down, it's not that bad. The higher up it is, obviously the more defense, the more HP they have, and the faster they are slightly. So we'll take a look. I'll probably do this one for next week because I think it will be able to help out the most people. But if there's one in specific that you want, that you're having trouble with, let me know. All right. As for my TOA Hard Run, I will show you the team that I used, and it's going to be a little, what's the appropriate way of putting it? A little different. So I used Fran, and I used Lauren, and I used Crow. I also used my newest monster, Farad, which, if anybody's been watching for a while, it was my dream monster for the longest time, and I just could not have any luck pulling him. And then not too long ago, I was tinkering around, summoning for some feeding material to kind of make a couple extra 6 stars and 5 stars, and it worked out quite well for me. So that's my new addition, and essentially that monster has carried me through TOA Hard 100. So I'm trying to remember the team that I use now. So I don't know if I had... Who did I have? I had those 3. I know I had... So for my attack bar increase... where are you? It's actually an LD Nat 5. So don't get me wrong, I know not everybody has an LD Nat 5, but like I said, if the game gives you something to progress better, you take it. And so I took my Wedjat, who has, for anybody that doesn't know, his passive increases the attack bar by 10% when his attack and his turn ends. For every beneficial effect, you can get more attack bar. So a lot of people will put him on Violent or Swift. I never did. I put him on Nemesis. I made him a little tanky-ish, not very, but I put him on Nemesis. He takes a hit. He's got a defense buff as well as a anti-crit. So he helps my Varad, hitting for a defense-based monster. And he helps my the rest of my team by not getting crit. Now I don't remember if I used... Oh, I know I had Lauren in there. Lauren was in there somewhere. Actually, I think I know exactly what my team was. I think this is what it was. I had to take a minute to think there. So I had attack bar reduction with Lauren and Fran and Varad. I had freezes with Varad, so essentially a stun. Big damage with Crow. For those of you that don't know, this is Hwadam. It's an LD Nat 4. But I have my Hwadam with as much HP as I could put on when I first got him. And his passive is if an enemy is going to die outside of like a damage over time or a dot, that will kill them. But if it's a hit, it just takes some of Hwadam's HP and keeps them alive. So it takes 30% of Hwadam's HP, which is just over 44,500, and gives it to the ally that's going to die, and then you would just take Fran and heal up Hwadam, and essentially you can just go forever, as long as it's not a damage over time situation. So this is the team I used, and it worked. I manualed the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing. I autoed it up to like 70 or 80, and then it was not too long after that I actually pulled the Varad. So I wanted to manually because I wanted to play. I finally got my dream monster, and I started using them, and I was playing around with them, and it was just fun. It kind of brought me back to what I wanted, and kind of got me more interested in the game. So obviously for my summons, I got nothing. We haven't been doing summon videos on here, but that's because, some people don't want to watch them. I know there's some pretty high up YouTubers that are on Twitch as well, and they focus strictly on summons or Guild War content or Labyrinth or Arena. If you want to see what I do for any of those, leave a comment down below. If you want more summons, leave a comment down below. I don't mind saving up, I just haven't been. And it kind of paid off for me, but let me know what you guys want to see. I'll continue with the bosses, like the boss stages, in TOA normal, and they can be transferred to TOA hard, but obviously it's going to be harder. But aside from that, we love hearing from everybody. So, the whole normal like, comment, subscribe, hit the little notification button, do all that stuff. But most importantly, let us know what you guys want help with, if you want help with something. If you don't want help with something, then just leave a comment saying, hey, you know what, this is the team I use for TOA normal and it works, or TOA hard and it works, or don't do it essentially for me, obviously, because other people do read the comments and don't leave comments, so it might be able to help out somebody else in the same situation. And that's kind of what this game's about, right? It's a community. That's why you have guilds. That's why you have the chat. It's to help each other build better teams. And if you listen to me rant on for the last, 18 minutes, and you're like, well, that's stupid, and then you look down in the comments and somebody else has a better suggestion for you, try it out. That's what we're here for. Alright? So, hopefully that helps you out with the TOA boss. Lyrith, or whatever her name is, the female one. I just know him as the chick and the dude. So hopefully that helps you out. If it does, sweet, leave a thumbs up. If it doesn't, don't leave a thumbs down, but leave in the comments that, this isn't working for me, why, and I can try. Or jump into our Discord, or check our Twitter, do something, right? I'm more than willing to help. I jump on the Twitter all the time. I can answer questions, it's not a problem. But, with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully it helped, and yeah, I guess the only thing left is to keep those shields up. Well, Knights, you made it all the way to the end. You know what that means. You've won the chance to watch another one of our videos, or perhaps even subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.